So I'm John Manson. I'm the city engineer. I started with Langford just over 2 years ago. My background, I've worked virtually all over BC. I've worked in private enterprise as well as for governments, the land development engineer in Surrey, stints in both the township and the city of Langley in various positions there. And I've also done consulting work in Kamloops, Nanaimo, and Comox. So I've kind of wandered around the province. Here I am at Langford. Just an example of that creative approach. This started almost from the very beginning in the early 1990s when Langford was incorporated. Most of the downtown core, the area you're sitting on, is basically a big gravel pit, and there are a number of other gravel pits in this area. So we have a lot of very good permeable gravel in and around the area. It's provided actually gravel to the Victoria area for quite a number of years. And in particular, Goldstream Avenue here is basically sitting on a gravel pit. Groundwater tables are very low in this particular location here. As a result, under the Ministry of Transportation Highways, when they were the approving officer, we ended up with a lot of rock pits and on-site systems that were there. At the same time, when Langford incorporated, of course, the buzzword was infiltration. So the engineering department of the day went 100% on it and said, okay, we're going to write in our subdivision bylaw, developers shall infiltrate 100% of their site. That was written in there in black and white. That was in the early 1990s. Most of the development was occurring in and around the downtown core, so they had quite a bit of success with it. One of the concerns, though, is that when you have a development site and you're asking them to basically deal with their own drainage, first thing that happens is we don't get a storm drainage system in the street because there's nobody to build it. It's not a requirement. So the street ends up going complete infiltration as well as the developments. Of course, we're prepared to take that on the street side. We have a maintenance department. These things have to be maintained on an annual basis. They have to be replaced about every 15 years. So we have a program of replacing our infiltration systems. But the developers were a bit of an issue to deal with. So the policy that was created at that time was to ask developers to register a 219 covenant. These are mostly for stratas. The covenant says that the strata is responsible for maintaining the system on an annual basis. And we send out letters. We have a listing of all those projects that are in that state. And we send out letters annually requesting them to provide us with copies of their maintenance record. And it's worked fairly well. We've got a number of developers now. This has been in place for so long. A number are starting to say you don't really need the 219 covenants. People know. I think the concern was this is a different standard than what folks are used to. What do you mean I don't have a storm connection? What are you talking about? So we wanted to make sure people were aware that this was somewhat a different situation. So that was the purpose of these covenants.
So, excuse me, so what's the infrastructure in the road that you have to replace every 15 years?
Basically, there's vertical and horizontal infiltration systems.
So it's a catch basin?
Something like that. That's a vertical one. There's quite a few of them out now. They're very standard. This is, I think, this is one on the Pete Road project. You may actually see it. This was taken yesterday, so you'll probably see one of these things as we do the loop down around Pete Road. We're also putting in horizontal rock pits as well as the vertical ones.
So any issues about getting rid of the material that gets pulled out of those?
We also, in the non-residential developments, we ask for oil separators and some water quality boxes, the free boxes and stuff, so we're asking for them. Actually, after about 15 years, and it varies, I mean, we're just reaching the end of the theoretical end of the lifetime on the first ones, that actually the design has been modified over the years and improved. They have more capacity now than they did in the initial years. But we have replaced 3 or 4 of them. Basically, you have to go and dig that up because of the gravels get clogged up. Now, in between that, that's kind of at the very end of the lifetime. I'm forgetting to tell you all the stuff in between. You can go in there with a high-pressure washer and clean them out. So you do this annual maintenance, and it keeps cleaning it out. But eventually, we know these systems, they don't last forever.
Are you going to see these on our walk?
You'll see one of them on Pete Road. This one here, I think this one was taken a couple days ago.
Have you ever had situations where the infiltration rate is inadequate for what's proposed?
Good question. So where the hell does the water go anyways? This is back to the 90-10 rule. This was adopted as a general policy. And I mentioned to you that we started with our development down here, working with it. In fact, it'll work. It works with us the same thing over on the mainland. That's the gravel pit. water tables are nice and low and then it just disappears. The project here,
This is right across the street.
which if you open the window, is right across the street. It's taken up virtually 100% of the property. So there's no room to put an infiltration system on the property, we think. That's 3 stories deep, there's underground parking there, and there's a rock bed underneath that. So this is the problem we're having in the downtown core. As we densify at the lower densities where we had a bit of open space, it didn't work. I didn't like the looks of this. So we asked them to put an overflow pipe that takes drainage out into the street. We have a horizontal infiltration system out in the street, and that horizontal pipe can function as a storm sewer if in fact we have problems in the future. Because the value of this building is just too high to trust the rock business. Despite the fact that they seem to have a pretty good track record, this is the point at which the risk was a little too high for us. So we're now actually, you'll see it on Pete Road, there's that, our storm sewer. It's being designed as an overflow pipe. So we'll continue to use infiltration because it makes sense here and it works reasonably well. We'll continue to maintain them. But we're going to have a few overflow systems so that there is a storm sewer somewhere in the area if we have particular areas of concern. The problem is that if you get an area right in the middle of your downtown core that's not infiltrating, well, where's the storm sewer? It's $5 million away, I think. So that's the other side of the infiltration pond. It already is detained. Most of it goes in the ground. We don't actually expect, we're hoping the pipe never runs because it's all infiltration systems through there. But in the odd event, one of the things it'll do is if one rock pit fails, it can get to the next one through the pipe system. So it provides an extra level of safety. And if over time, they all happen to clog up where you have a 200-year storm, we don't have to design these things to take a 200-year storm, so it makes them more economical. And you can take that 1% or 2% of the water that comes through on a 200-year storm and get it down into a detention pond under the lake. So some of the challenges. The first question was
John,
if the
question here.
infiltration isn't enough.
Yep, just one other question. When you did your OCP, I'm just assuming there's higher density going to be occurring in the downtown core. Was that taken into account with your infrastructure, and are all of these new higher density buildings, such as the one across the street, going to be draining into the street, and will that support long-term?
We're evolving, and as the density goes up, we're going to be asking for these little pieces of, basically we're asking to do horizontal infiltration. And then as that process proceeds, we'll be getting pieces of function as a storm sewer if need be. So we're asking for them to do that now in the downtown.
You're planning to?
Yeah. So here's an area here in South Langford. Core infiltration, same policy, but it didn't work so good. So this is an area where we're starting to we're actually putting in some storm drainage and detention ponds and water quality, surface type features that most municipalities are doing. We're doing that in South Langford. Here's one here. You'll actually drive by it today. It's a dinky little site on Jacqueline. Every once in a while, in the middle of winter, there's a retaining wall around the corner. There's a drain at the bottom of the retaining wall. The water flows out the drain because it's coming from the street. The water can't get down. There isn't a permeable layer low enough. It's been trapped in one of the service trenches, runs along the trench. And so we have a business owner here that's got a nuisance flooding issue. It disappears a day later, but now we have to go in and make some changes because the water didn't quite go where we thought it was going to go. This is up on Bear Mountain. We've got this is sort of started in the 1990s. We have basically a swale system on both sides of the road. If you've been up there, you've seen these flat curbs that we've got there. The intention is to get the drainage to go into the swales and do the water quality work on them as they work down the swales. Doesn't work so good in the wintertime. It's too easy for folks to drive off that road, either sliding off during snow events or just kids playing around. So we've had a lot of problems maintaining these boulevards. So you'll notice we're going back and putting upright curbs there. This is also a great opportunity for us in the future to do proper rain gardens and provide a boundary to keep people from driving off the roads. Those are a couple of things that we're looking for the future there.
So now that you're putting in curbs, are you putting curb cuts in?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're just kind of keeping the vehicles off the road.
So it's more traffic control.
Yeah.
Good hearing.
So again, how that adapts to the rainwater